Welcome back to the channel.
Today we are headed to Pearl Harbor and we're gonna go check it out.
So if you like this kind of content, be sure to subscribe.
Come get lost with us.
Made it to the historic site. Nice to get in line. Just kind of checking everything out. There are a couple different things you can do here. There's an aviation museum. There's also the Battleship Missouri Memorial. And then there's the Pacific Fleet Submarine Museum. And then the Pearl Harbor National Museum. And then historic parks. So there's a bunch of options here. There's the Submarine Museum over there. And then I've got to go through this one. Pigeons. Hawaiian pigeons. Once past the gate, we made a right, and that's where the Pacific Fleet Submarine Museum is. We're gonna see what that costs to maybe check this out. Oh, looks like they're having some kind of thing today. Looks like they're having some kind of event today. And now, what'd you say?
Arch thing.
Oh. Interesting. It'd be very hard to show because of the sun. Let me see if I can get it. That's a hull ring. Holy moly. So that's as big as the submarine is then. Huh.
It is the lead ship in the U.S. Navy's next class of ballistic missile submarines that will enter service in 2031.
Oh, interesting. Huh. Heading into the museum, it did cost $26 to go to this museum, so let's go check it out. Museum, so it's pretty standard. We started with the Cold War side. There's a I-400 bell that was recovered from the ocean floor.
They recovered that bell in 2016. It was 2,000 feet deep for more than 70 years.
Wow. It's interesting to see because diesel required oxygen. They had to have like pipes up to the surface to get oxygen for it, whereas the nuclear doesn't require oxygen to create the power, so that's why it was revolutionary for the nuclear subs. Well, for subs in general. The USS Cust was actually the first Navy submarine that had guided missiles. And that's the patch for it. Huh. In 1955, they introduced the Nautilus.
On 21 January 1954. On 17 January 1955,
so this was, I think, the first nuclear-powered submarine.
Sent the triumphant.
Check out all the gauges that they have for the control room. Can't imagine trying to keep track of all this stuff.
During her shakedown in May 1955, Nautilus being submerged from New London, Connecticut to San Juan, Puerto Rico. The distance of more than 1,300 miles.
Yeah, nice that little film too. 1965, they launched the USS what now? Kamehameha. That is a reference to the former king of Hawaii. It was launched in 65, and in 92 they converted it to an attack submarine. It's amazing to think that it lasted that many years before they converted it. The longest of any nuclear-powered sub. Huh. 63 patrols. Deployed 8 times. Another display of all the buttons and stuff that was in the submarines. It talks about in this one that they had so many redundant systems in case stuff broke. So this is the Poseidon warhead. This is one of the missiles that they would have on the subs. Check out the warhead. Look at that. Apparently it popped open and had 3 different nuclear warheads inside of it. Oof. That's a sleek looking boat.
That's what the Kamehameha would look like.
Yeah, that's what the Kamehameha would look like. I think that's after they change it to an attack submarine too. Check out the cutaway one with the different sections. The missiles up front. I can't imagine sleeping and living in one of these. Look at this one with the multiple like launchers on top of it.
And we've been in some of like the ships. We've not been in a submarine, and the ships are tiny.
Yeah, ships are tiny, so I can't imagine a submarine. Check out the patches. I like the Theodore Roosevelt. It's got the weird atomic symbol, meaning it's a nuclear sub. I wonder who actually designs these. On the floor in the museum is actually a mock-up of what the tubes would look like with the weapons. So you can stand over top of a nuclear arm.
It's crazy. And then like they load them from the top.
Yeah.
If you had to escape the submarine, you could only do it at 300 feet or less, and you would wear this, which had enough oxygen to kind of help you get back up to the surface, which if you've dived before, you know, like you could still get a case of the bends at 300 feet.
They call it a stinky hood. Probably mispronounced that, but there's the words stinky, stanky, stanky. Imagine you have to go up to 300 feet though. Oof.
If you were deeper than 300 feet, you were SOL.
Here's a cutaway. So we showed you the floor, right? So the floor would be up here. This would be us on the floor. And that's the cutaway of the sub with the missiles inside them. Look how big they are compared to the sub. They take up almost all of the sub. And then there's a guy in there for scale. Fascinating.
Vanna White it.
I think Vanna whited it for us. There's a mess table. Eat and play. 5 narrow tables seat 34 submarines, shoulder to shoulder for a 20-minute meal break before the next hungry group. And then this is what the kitchen looks like. Look at the tight quarters. There's a guy standing there. That's kind of the space they have. Whew. A story they chose to include in the museum. Basically, wives took a photograph with a pillow underneath their shirt acting like they were pregnant. And all of the crew members were concerned. I'd be concerned too, because it probably wouldn't be your baby, right? Interesting, they have like an active sonar display. So see as she touches the drum there? Sparks on the screen. And the bigger the touch, the bigger the... Fascinating. I heard one thing, that this thing in the sub, the sonar display, if you stand in the room with it without it being cushioned, it can literally kill you. Because it'll basically just like blow your eardrums out and kill you. Because it's that loud. Right? I was reading something on Reddit a couple days ago. It's kind of like pilot wings, but for submarines, I guess. Look at the cool. These are so neat.
The chosen symbol for many submarine forces was dolphins, mahi-mahi, or dorado fish, and were attendants of Poseidon, god of the sea in Greek mythology. So that is why they chose the dolphins.
Neat. Let's call the other militaries ones too. I like the whales, by the way, for Indonesia. Really cool though, all of them. There's some music blasting, but look at the crawl-in bunks. So they had to crawl in these bunks to sleep.
And storage they had, so like they could lift it up and they could store their stuff, and then like they had a, basically, and like you slip like this.
Yeah. So that's underneath the bed. So this is the bed. This is their storage. Fascinating.
It basically would look like this once it was made in.
Yeah, with a little curtain on it, basically, and that's it.
This is probably like prime height right here. That would suck.
At least
that would probably be a little difficult.
The benefit, though, if you're on the bottom, though, if you fall, you don't fall very far.
I wonder how much you rock.
Yeah, good question. Check out the suit. It's a poopy suit made by a sailor on the USS Tekamushi during the Vietnam War era. Huh. I like it. I love the colors. This little display talks about how much food they had on board. 4,000 pounds of beef, 2,000 of chicken, 1,400 of pork, 1,000 of ham, 3,400 of flour, 3,000 pounds of sugar, 1,200 pounds of coffee.
And they basically ate on plates like that.
Yeah, I mean, look at these little plastic plates. These models show the improvement of the space of the submarines. Look at that. So you got number 1 is the Seawolf, which is the one in the middle. Number 2, which is towards us, is the Tucson. And number 3 in the back is the USS Hawaii. There's an idea about how the Navy SEALs enter and leave subs. They basically have like a lockout tube. That's how they get in. It's kind of like an airlock. This is a heavy-hitting torpedo. It's so big, yeah. What are your thoughts on the torpedo?
It's big. It could go more than 5 miles.
Fascinating.
And 650 pounds of high explosives.
I feel like the Columbia class, which is the second one right there, is typically what you see when they think about movies and how they portray submarines. It's very black and sleek. This one towards us is the USS Alaskan. It actually has like a 3-pronged tail. I always wondered this, like how much ice can they actually submerge through? And apparently 15 feet is far too thick for a submarine to break through. So I wonder how thick they can go. I can't imagine trying to break through ice in a submarine. And this is pretty neat too. So this is an unmanned robotic vehicle for special missions. So you see it's almost like a torpedo.
It's basically a drone, but underwater.
It's basically what now?
A drone, but it's underwater, and they use an Xbox controller to control it.
Reminds me of that rich people submarine. That's what they use too.
Yeah, see?
Good old Xbox. They give you an opportunity to share your creative ideas, and I love it. This is a museum on submarines, and yet everything is like animal based and this is a flag from World War II times, and it's called the Ace of Spades. So the 5 stars on the top signify the 5 military runs they made, and each one of the basically Japanese flags are merchant ships that the submarine sunk. That's a lot of ships.
And they also made it from materials that they found on the ship.
Oh, so it was made on the ship from materials. That's really cool. I like the USS Sea Dog. And look at the barb. Oh, there's some images. But the barb. So they have different stars and scorecards. And what were we saying now? The Rising Sun flag?
That is a Japanese Navy warship that they sunk. If it's partially, then it was a Japanese Navy warship that was damaged. If it's just a red disc or like a meatball, that's a merchant ship that they sunk. And if it was a white disc, it was a merchant ship damaged.
Interesting story too. Apparently they got free cigarettes from celebrities like Frank Sinatra. And the more ships they sunk, the better their hotel room would be at the Royal Hawaiian that night. Here are some drawings from Japanese prisoners on board some of the submarines. This display is talking about the diesel engine. So we went a little bit back in time to World War II, so they were diesel and not nuclear, right? Because nuclear wasn't until the Cold War. This is what the pistons in the diesel engine look like. Look how big they are. This is my hand. That's how big they are. And that's a car piston right there. So that would be a truck piston. That's the size of the piston in the submarine. Here's a car battery, if you've never seen one. And then that's a battery for the sub. Look how big that battery is. That's crazy. We saw earlier the cutaway of the nuclear sub. Here's a cutaway of the diesel-based sub. Look at the torpedo room up front. There's the big old motor. And then they have backwards launching torpedo bay. Wow. And And then there's how they put the torpedoes in. That's how they loaded them. They got stationary guns on the deck. Anti-aircraft stuff. Wow. One thing about these dolphin wings, by the way, they look like the swan and dolphin. I always wondered why those things look like that, because they don't look like dolphins to me, but it makes sense. It's a military thing.
Ah, that's a good tie-in. I didn't think about that till just now either.
So what were you saying about the dolphin wings?
So in order to earn your dolphin wings, you basically had to know every aspect of the submarine, all of the weapons, engineering systems, navigation, sonar, electrical. You had to be self-reliant and prepared to do any duty, any routine at any given time. That's a lot of pressure.
That's a lot of skill. We went to the ranch a couple days ago and they had like a cutout of a submarine that kind of looks like this from it was the Lost set is what it was from, but it's cut out of the top of the submarine. If you ever wondered how they would know like different ships, these are models that they would use to recognize different ships that would be targets along the way. And they had like different guides and stuff to figure out who to shoot, for lack of a better term. What?
Says every Japanese ship was considered a target. Ship identification was important, but secondary to attacking and sinking. Misclassification was common.
Have this Navy plane out here. That's pretty neat. And they're clearly prepping for a ceremony over there.
Type of military graduation, I would assume.
Yeah. What'd you think of the museum?
It was interesting. It kind of made me think a little bit about the World War II museum we went to in New Orleans, but not as colorful.
This is an Mk-14 exercise torpedo for testing and training. Huh. So there was no explosive in this one. This is a Mark 14 just torpedo. Primary weapon of fleet submarines during World War II. They're really big. An anti-air gun that was on the decks. 40mm quad gun. Look at this thing. Here's where someone would sit. And then there would be someone on the other side too. I can't imagine how loud it was. I mean, wow. And they have this missile too firing over here. This is a submarine rescue chamber. So what do they do with these?
It's actually only been used once.
Once, wow.
Apparently in 1939, a submarine flooded and sank 240 feet to the floor of the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of New Hampshire. Unfortunately, 26 men drowned, but 33 of them took refuge in the forward compartment and banged out Morse code on the ship's hull. So the inventors of this were able to locate where they were, and basically they submerged this to the disabled submarine, and it says that they were able to slowly rescue the people. It took 4 trips and 40 hours to rescue 33 sailors, and it's only ever been used once.
Wow. On this side they have a bunch of different torpedoes, a Mark 45 nuclear capable torpedo, a Mark, what does it say, 37 it looks like, electric torpedo, another even smaller torpedo. And then on the back side, this was a Catan suicide weapon. So this is a Japanese device where 6 pilots would go in there, they drop down, and it was basically just a suicide. They had bombs in it, but they would just run into things. And they said they were very unsuccessful with these.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Overall, that sucks.
Here is a World War II sub, the USS Bowfin. We're going to go check this out. Made it onto the deck of the old submarine. Look at this. It's interesting, these feel like wood panels almost. But they're metal. Check out this old hatch. Look at that. He's going to go explore the bow of the ship. Into the submarine. Check out the tube. Look at that. And there's I guess a warhead mocked up in there. What do you think of it?
It's tight quarters.
It is very tight.
Very tight quarters.
Wow. That's Nacy getting through the door. There's a bathroom and a shower over here. Check out the kitchen area. Wow. And here is the bed sitch. It is like right next to each other, y'all. There's the table. Got some cigarette Lucky Stripes. This is the walkway. It was not easy. Another side of the bed. Wow.
That's where the commanding officer is.
Oh, the commanding officer gets his own bed. Oh, man. You got some Butterfingers. Well, here we go again.
Alright, we made it into this control room. There's a little bit more space in here than the other rooms, but that's crazy. This is like the command room, I think. God, could he? Yeah. And you gotta keep track of all of this. It's crazy. I also just can't imagine being in here knowing you can't go out.
And imagining like hundreds of feet deep underwater.
Claustrophobic, for sure. You can even kind of look up there. Yeah, you take these little narrow stairs. It's crazy.
Here's the radio room, by the way. It is right next to the engines. You can see the old ham radios and stuff back there, a typewriter. Really cool.
This one's even tighter because you got this over here.
Okay.
Here is the galley where they would prepare all the food. Got a big old mixer.
Yeah.
Got some. Now, we read upstairs that it was what, like 400,000 pounds of food or 40,000 pounds of food? It was somewhere around there.
4,000 pounds of beef, 2,000 pounds of chicken, like 1,000 pounds of ham. There's a lot of different things. 3,500 pounds of flour.
Yeah, I can't imagine this being my life for months at a time, weeks at a time even, like.
The amount of time I'd hit my head or hit your feet,
yeah.
It's crazy.
And the amount of fans for airflow, I mean, somebody farted in here, you'd be done.
There's a drop down section.
Oh yeah. Look at that. Crazy. Now we're into more barracks back here. Look at that.
Another barracks, huh? So that must have been the, like, officers' quarters. This must be the general people's quarters.
Yeah. We just keep going deeper into the ship, y'all. Deeper and deeper. Alright, so we got a bathroom set here.
And this is with LED lights, so with the halogens it would have even been hotter.
Oh god. And then we got sinks, and I'm going to assume there's a shower in there. Imagine, you probably didn't shower very often. Close quarters and smells, man.
Yeah.
Just for comparison,
Yeah.
Gary's like literally touching the ceiling here. Like, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, now we're gonna go through another port. Okay, so we've made it through another porthole into another control room. There's a lot of brass in here. It's very interesting. Lots of gauges and stuff that I had to keep. It's very warm down here too, just FYI. Got another porthole up here. I think we're getting closer to the engines, so just keeps getting smaller, y'all. Okay, we've got like engines in here, and it's just tight. It's very tight.
It's literally one person.
Oh, we're almost to the end. After this, we get to go upstairs.
We should be at the other torpedo room.
Look at all this. It's crazy. It's hot too. It's very hot. Yeah, these ports are tiny, y'all. Very, very tiny. All right, another torpedo room. And it's just interesting that there's beds in here. They literally just cramped sleeping quarters wherever you could. And then there's like this little office area back here.
Another communication repair room.
Tiny little porthole. You definitely gotta have your mobility about you to do this. So, heads up.
Here's kind of the deck. After we've emerged, you see the anti-air gun, the main sort of tower there. It's a cramped space, y'all.
Think how many people they put in this thing? I think it was somewhere around 30 people.
The ship's bell right underneath the deck there. Look at that. And there's the rest of the harbor there. Made it to the other side. There's the Road to War Museum. We're going to take a quick peek through it. It's one of the free experiences that you can do here. This area is pretty small, but it talks about how they moved the fleet from California to Hawaii and fears the Pacific Fleet be attacked. This is really cool. Look at this model of a warship. There's two models of aircraft carriers. Look at those, but they looks like Corsairs and Mustangs. And then there's this, which would be a Japanese aircraft carrier. Look at that. That is impressive. Wow. This talks about how the Japanese were trying to basically secure their southern empire through Malaya, and they thought that the U.S. would be in the way. So there's their plans to protect their area. That's why Pearl Harbor was attacked first. This is from 1934, and this is Babe Ruth playing with young Japanese baseball players. Look how much bigger he is. I wonder how little or how young the kids were.
So just a little backstory on Pearl Harbor. They kind of started seizing land in the early 1900s, and it was definitely opposed by the local Hawaiian people. But as they kind of started to invest more, it became a U.S. territory. And then by 1941, there was more money per capita that was being invested in new construction here in Honolulu than in any other American city.
Fascinating. Which is why it was the target, probably.
Yep, it was seen as a threat.
A painted scene of what it looked like as they began their attack. They would just fly through, drop their bombs, and the ships were unprepared to counter. So the aircraft had to drop to about 30 feet above sea level. They dropped the torpedoes. The torpedoes would drive down to 33 feet, then rise to a depth of 10 to 22 feet. U.S. California, U.S. Arizona, U.S. Nevada, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Maryland, Neosho. So an ensign, Kazu Sakamaka, was in one of the midget submarines and it apparently ran aground, and he was the first captured prisoner of war.
He's the only one that survived, too.
Yes, and he's only one of 10 people who survived the midget submarines. This is what they call the battleship kill. This is what the Japanese were dropping into the water to attack the ships. Look at that. Some of the remembrance pins and patches. That's pretty neat. The war rationing book. Wow. Buy your war savings stamps from me. Here's a model of the USS Arizona. That's the one that you have to take a boat out to if you want to see it. And you can go inside the little white building. The Arizona is one of the ones that sunk from the attack.
Yeah.
Look at it. Some of the scenes underwater of the USS Arizona. Look at that. Been reclaimed by the sea. Well, that concludes our trip to the Pearl Harbor National Historic Site. Thoughts, Nacy?
It was interesting. I will say overall it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. The good thing is you really only have to pay $7 for parking, and you can do the 2 free museums, and there is a free movie that's about 20 minutes long. You can do all of that for free with your $7 parking fee. Outside of that, we did do the $25 Submarine Museum. I will say that was interesting and definitely worth it because you can go into the actual hull of the submarine, which is an experience.
So it's free unless you bring a car. So if you Uber or whatever here, you don't have to pay $7.
Yes.
Just to be clear, because Nacy kind of confused that. It's just $7 for parking. I will say the free museums are really small.
Yeah.
But they're worth coming to see. And you still get to see the bay where Pearl Harbor actually was, which is really neat. The Submarine Museum was definitely worth it. There was an aviation museum we didn't go to, and then we didn't go to the floating Arizona museum, which is basically just going over top of the Arizona, which is that shrunk model that we showed you in the free museum.
And that is free to do, but you either have to make reservations ahead of time or there's like a standby call list.
Interesting. So it might be worth it to you to do. We just didn't head out there because we had seen everything. It's a somber museum, and I think it's worth going to. But there is probably only about 2 to 3 hours I would carve out for it. Maybe 4. I don't know how big the aviation museum is. But judging by how big the submarine museum was, that only took us about 30 minutes to go through. And we read pretty much everything in there. So it's not like we kind of just breezed through. We went really slow through the submarine museum.
Legit tip, there are 2 parking lots if you are driving down here. You can pay for parking ahead of time and go earlier in the morning because the weather is better. We're leaving right around 1 o'clock. It's definitely heat of the day and it's really starting to pick up, so do keep that in mind. They do have food and snacks kind of spread out around, so if you do need food or snacks, and if you are somebody who needs to bring a bag in because of a medical issue, you just have to show it to them.
And definitely continuing on a legit tip, it is wide open in that there's just a ton of like open space that the sun just beats down on. So definitely put on that sunscreen if you're going to be here in the afternoon, and be prepared because it was 99 degrees when we got in the car. 98, 99 degrees.
Yeah, he said he preferred the Backstreet Boys over 98 degrees.
That's what I said. That was my joke, yeah. But if you like this kind of content, please take a moment and give it a thumbs up.
Make sure you hit that subscribe button.
And ring that notification bell so you get notified when we do at least 3 videos a week.
And we'll come and get y'all for the next one.
Ain't that the truth? Baby Ruth.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
We just wanted to take a moment to thank you guys for watching this video. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, would you please consider hitting that subscribe button, as it helps us reach a wider audience and helps our channel grow even further. To those of you who are already subscribed to the channel, we just wanted to say a huge thank you for always being there and supporting our channel. We cannot wait to take you guys on our next adventure, so we'll see you guys in the next one.